This spider, or daddy longlegs, is a great Halloween project, and all you need is a sort of flat-backed glass bead or stone. And in fact, Charmers Gems have a black and white onyx in round. They're sort of cabochons from their shop, and you'll see they're 20 to 23 millimeters in a two-piece pack. So they're just perfect for this. But I've used what I call dragon's droppings, which are these glass sort of half round beads that you can glue on. So you can use bugle beads and crystals and sort of really jewel it up if you want. This one does look more like a crab, I think, rather than a spider. Anyway, I wanted to give you this simple project that you could do. So I'm using soft black iron wire, or it's 1 mil, and I've got some 0.3 mil binding wire. So I've cut 4 lengths, they're about 6 inches. You might not want them as long as that. You might want to make it a bit shorter, but you'll see how long it makes a very high sort of daddy long leg. So I'm just going to cut these, straighten out my 4 pieces. So just pull them through your hands. And yes, black iron wire does sort of leave a sort of blackish residue on your hands, but it comes off very easily. But it's just great for this. And I'm going to cut a longer length, so, you know, about an arm's length of the 0.3 or any black binding wire to match you know, to bind these things together. If you don't have black, you can always use, you know, your 0.4 mil silver because it won't show up. So what you do is you hold all 4 lengths together and you bind them at the center of the bundle. Keep them one on top of the other, sort of flat. Don't bunch them up too much. So keep them flat, and then get rid of the short end because that's not usable anymore, and hold it flat with your flat nose pliers at the center where you bound it. And now pull up the 2 each side. So these are going to be the legs of the spider. So you separate and fan these wires out to create the legs of the spider. So you just hold that center and then bend them out to separate them to create the legs. So now it's still a little bit wobbly, so you're going to have to hold it at the center with your thumb and forefinger and bind. It's like wire weaving a basket. So you're going to go around and under one, around and under the other, and you just keep going around and under each of those wires. And when you come across the larger gap, you just bring it across and do the same thing. And as you keep weaving around and around, you'll find that the whole unit becomes much stronger and the wires stop moving around. Be careful you don't poke your hand. I mean, I have made these legs very long because I really wanted a big daddy long legs. But you don't have to do that. You can make them a bit shorter than this. So you just keep going until you've used up all your wire, or rather, you keep going until that woven area mustn't not be bigger than the base of the cabochon or the flat back stone that you're going to glue on top of it. So you can see it's just very repetitive around each of these stems, and eventually that shape holds itself in place. So it's exactly like weaving the base of a basket or weaving the sides of a basket. You're just repeating this binding around each individual wire. So it's that simple, and you'll feel it getting stronger and stronger as I mentioned. So once you've done the whole base and you've cut off any excess, that's what it should look like. It's just a woven piece. And yes, you can glue straight onto that, but I don't, because I find the glue goes through those gaps. So what we're going to do is reinforce it. So using the same black iron wire, the 1 mil, I want you to create a sort of a spiral. So it's just make a little, doubled up end. And this could be a little bit more oval, because actually the piece we're going to make is a bit oval. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a base to glue the flat-backed glass cabochon, or whatever, if you might be using the onyx from Charmer's Gems. So just create a tight spiral and curl it up to be no bigger than the piece you're going to glue onto it. Or maybe you want it bigger. I mean, if you don't have a piece to glue onto it, you can always use this as your spider base. You see, you just make it as big as that. And once you've got it the right size, get your wire cutters and cut the spiral off. And now you're going to use that to glue on top of your weaving. So that will sit on the woven area and just give it a bit more of a solid base. I use E6000 for my gluing. So I've glued that on, and now I'm going to go 20 mil on. You see, I just use my ruler and I put a little chalk mark. You can use anything, or just use your ruler and go around. But I just want it to be roughly the same length where the bend is. So, if you find it difficult to do it by eye, just get a little bit of chalk or something that you can just mark where the same measurement is where you want to bend it down. And then go to each leg or each stem and bend that down. I'm just going round and round. And the good thing about chalk or fused pastels or whatever marker you've got, or anything, it'll just come off anyway. So you're bending them all down, and now you can see that is going to stand. And I mean, you could stop there, and that's already a spider, isn't it? You start moving those wires around so that they sit wherever you want them to sit, and so it looks a bit more realistic, like legs. If you find that the legs are too long at this stage, you can always trim them. This is, completely up to you. So I'm just going to work with what I've got. So just spend a bit of time moving the legs around until you're happy and adjusting them where you want them to be. And as I say, you can just stop there, but I'm going to do one last thing for the feet, because I've found, because it will stand on its own just like that. But I like to go with my flat nose pliers, and I use the measurement at the end of the ply and just bend another right angle right at the base. And that will give those little legs much more of a base to sit on. So all the way round each of the legs. And the final thing I do is give those a hammer. So I get my whammer hammer, my steel block, steel end, and I really spread and flatten to sort of feather out or mushroom out the wire on each of those legs, so you can see. And then finally, if you want to, you can glue on some little crystal flatback pieces that create the eyes. You can get those little googly eyes. It's fun for the grandchildren. And you can put them in a display, on a piece of wood or bark or a beautiful crystal. And that is it. So have fun doing these for a Halloween project. Thank you for watching.